So we're going to take a look at the raid window here. This is live in the middle of the raid. Um, so I think this is the best time to take a look at the raid window when it's pretty full. I'm going to pull it up here. Because of the way the raid window works, I've got it always showing 6 groups at a time so that I can quickly flip back and forth between half the raid and the other half of the raid. And that's just useful for me, but I know the way that I have my layout set up, it cuts off some of the bottom here. So I'm going to unlock this and pull it up. We'll do three groups at a time for this. And I'm just going to show kind of what I've got going on here. I'm not the raid leader, so some of these buttons on here I can't really interact with, as you can see. But we can take a quick look at what is going on here. By default, the raid window sorts everybody by group number, group 1, 2, 3,
Cannibalization
and
is
so
ready.
forth. And I use those maybe if I'm chatting with the raid leader, making a request to say, hey, could you drop hidden from group 4 into group 3 or whatever. And when you're chatting with somebody else who's in control of the raid window, it can be useful to identify where folks are by those groups. But you don't have to sort it that way. You can also sort it by player name. This can be useful if you're looking for a particular player to see if they're in the raid or in the zone. If somebody's their name is dimmed like this, it means that they're out of the zone right now. You can also sort by level. You know, maybe if you're wondering who's not level 65 on here, well, we can find out really quickly. You can sort by class, which is really great when you're wanting a buff from a specific class. You can just look through the raid window, and you know, if I need Blessing of the Nine, I can just not only find Teeline here as a druid, but I can click on her, and it actually puts her in my targeting window down here. You can't really see that right there, but if I click on folks, and I do think that there's some range limitations on that, but I can click on folks and immediately target them, which makes it really easy to send a tell to them as well. You can also sort by role. You know, if somebody is the main assist, um, you can see who the raid leader is or the group leader is. Not particularly as useful. And then expedition, task, and flag information also. So if we want to know who's not flagged for time, we can find out real quick. And definitely some
Your avatar
use for
spell
that
has
there.
worn off.
But maybe not something that you're going to be using constantly. I'm going to leave this sorted by group there because that's most common. If you're the raid leader, you'll use this lock button to lock and unlock the raid, and you can only invite people to the raid while the raid is locked. I'm sorry, when the raid is unlocked. You can only move people between groups or invite people to the raid when it's. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. You lock the raid if you want to move people around between groups, and you unlock the raid if you want to be able to bring people in, either you're inviting or other group leaders. Um, you can click here to pick somebody who's a group leader um, and remove their group leader flag. I think this had to do with an old bug from a long time ago. If you have somebody who's in a group and you want to make them not part of a group, just move them. You can click on them and then choose no group. And then if you have someone picked, and this is for the raid leader again, and you want to move them into group 1 or 6 or 4, you just click the group that you want to put them on, 1 through 12. You can also assign roles, Master Looter, Main Assist, or Mark NPC. You can delegate these tasks out with these buttons. You can invite people to the raid using the invite button. You can also disband. You can click on somebody else if you're the raid leader and disband them, or anybody can target themselves and click disband. And you can also, if you're the raid leader, make somebody else the raid leader by using this make leader button. Add looter, if you want to make somebody a looter or remove them from a looter. If you want to invite the entire raid to your expedition or to your
Your avatar
task,
spell has worn
you
off.
click on somebody uh, who's that you can target. And that's the challenge here. And then hit invite expedition or invite task. And if you're the DZ leader or whatever, you hit that, it'll invite the entire raid rather than having to type invite for each person or send out single invites. So that's very convenient and saves a lot of time. And then one really cool thing is you can use the find NPC button or find PC button. You can click on that and it'll create one of those yellow paths. Make sure that you can find somebody else in the raid. So you can just click on them, hit find PC. We're going to get to the options button in just a moment. And then there's also this dump button, dump raid to text file. And if you click on that, it actually outputs all this information in the raid window, all the players' names, classes, levels, each of these, even the group number, or if they're not in a group, and it dumps it all to a text file. You can take that text file, copy and paste that right into a spreadsheet, and then you can manipulate that data. I've used this a couple different ways as a raid leader, as a guild leader, to monitor metrics over time, you might say, especially on a new server with a growing fledgling guild. Get an idea of what levels people are and what the class breakdowns are. I found it helpful to go back and look at group compositions and just think about, how could I have optimized that a little bit more? Just kind of do that in some downtime when you don't have the time pressure of an actual raid. So that's what the dump option is for. Very useful, and especially for folks in guild leadership. And then this options button, let's move this a little bit so we can see right there. You can see who the looters are. You can set what the loot type is. These are options for the guild or for the raid leader, which is definitely useful. Although I can't say that I really use that too much. And then here you can choose the colors for each of the different classes. And this, I think, is a real beauty of the raid window. The raid window has a lot of problems. There's a lot that really could be improved on. But this right here is really great, and you can see that I use this fairly extensively, and you can see the fruits of that labor in the raid window here. So I have all of my tanks set up as yellow, so I can quickly look and see how are my tanks distributed. If I need a tank group, it's really easy to clear out group 1, throw all my warriors in there, give them a healer and a little bit of support. Get that group organized really fast. In my healers, you see I've got my priests here, clerics, shamans, and druids. They're all in green. My melee DPS, who I have marked as beast lords, berserkers, monks, rogues, and rangers, the 5 of them all in orange, so I can quickly find where are my melee DPS groups. How can I make them a little bit better? Or if I'm just looking for a buff, where's the beast lord so I can get spiritual dominion? We also have our caster DPS, necros, magicians, and wizards. And then wrapping things up, I have bards and enchanters marked as blue as specifically support roles. Of course, everybody's playing some kind of support in this game. Even wizards are TLing people at the end of the raid. Mages are coughing. Necros are summoning corpses. Everybody has some kind of support in their toolkit. But bards and enchanters really seem to focus on that, and they play such a different role, or they can, than anybody else that I have them set separately. So that's how I break down my colors, and you might use a different color system. You may have a different way that you want to do that, but I think it's really helpful to at least take the time and do a basic layout so that you can distinguish between your tanks, your healers, your 2 different kinds of DPS, and your support classes, and then you can have a nice raid window where it's really easy to visually see what's going on. So while we had a little downtime waiting between phase 1 and phase 2 here at the end of the Undead trial, I thought that I would just kind of walk through how I have my raid window set up and why. Um, if you have questions, just make sure to ask me. I'm not leading raids in this guild or on this at this time on this server, but I've led my fair share of raids, and I enjoy chatting about this stuff and theory crafting on the best ways to organize a raid, how to make things just a little bit more efficient, do a little min-maxing right here in this raid window to optimize and become a little bit more efficient than maybe you would have been just throwing everybody together. And even as just a raid member, not even leading a raid, I feel like you can still get a lot out of this raid window in spite of its shortcomings. So I hope that this is helpful and maybe explains a little bit about why I have these colors show up when I open my raid window, or why I occasionally organize it a little bit differently on my stream and on my videos. But again, if you have any questions, let me know, ask me so I can try to answer. If you have any ideas or see something that I'm not doing that maybe I could be, let me know that too. So there you go. There's the raid window in a nutshell.